I think the job of being a teacher is so rewarding in so many ways.
The connection between you and the whole class, that's still unbeatable.
When my pupils are successful, it feels incredible.
I think the greatest thing for me is seeing the pupils that I teach love the subject as much as I do.
I don't think there's any other job where you get the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search Apply to Teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005, you are listening to Gamer Tag Radio with your hosts Godfrey, Pete Rock, Paris, Pasta. Come on, come on, come on.
Welcome to Gamer Tag Radio, episode 507. This is your host, Danny, a.k.a. Godfrey. And, of course, I have the crew minus Paris. He's on vacation, I guess. This week we have Pete Rock. Pete, what's up?
What is up?
The sky, I believe, is up.
Sky, yeah. The moon, the clouds.
The moon.
No, I'm good, man. How you doing?
All right, good, man. Just hype. 2 episodes every week now. Very interesting, right?
Yeah, putting in work. Just trying to get more content out to the listeners, like I said, on 506. It's an experiment. We're hoping that it goes well.
Yes.
But we can only get better or make that second show better by getting feedback from the listener. So hopefully as you guys listen, give us content, give us clues, give us an idea what you want to listen to, what you want to hear. And then we'll go from there.
And not only that, it all depends on you guys. The more you share it, the more downloads we get, the more we're going to create better content. And of course, you guys got to, all the listeners out there, send us emails, voicemails to make more content for the second episode too, so that will help. And also we have Patrick too. Patrick, what's up?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
Good. It's been a while, right? It's been a couple weeks.
It has. We've had some unusual episodes, particularly like the pairing of Peter and Paris for Taken King. Good job on that, guys. The game is super addictive. I can't stop playing it. But insomnia aside, other than that, I'm really excited for our new format, 2 episodes per week. I think that really opens up the windows of possibilities to do a lot of cool stuff. Because we're 4 different people. We don't all have the same likes and dislikes. So to be able to expand into something that's, not just hogging all the airtime on the regular show every week, I already got some cool ideas and bouncing around my head about this, but I think people are going to be impressed by what we have to say. And I agree with Peter, give us feedback. That's what's most important to us. We want to design our shows to, make you happy, to make your workday better, just to make your gaming experience more awesome. That is our passion because we love gaming just as much as you. So I'm excited, man. Let's talk about some stuff for this week.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas that we're going to be working on and a lot of topics for this week's episode too, man. So, by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to the following people because we had a GTR meetup in New York City and it was so much fun. I believe we were there for almost 6 hours just talking and drinking and watching the game and football game and stuff. So shout out to Trey, Dennis, and also Faye. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for coming. It was supposed to have, I think, more people, but a lot of them had to cancel due to work or school or personal stuff. But it was cool hanging out with our listeners, man, in New York City. It was a lot of fun. And shout out to them, man. And hopefully in the future, if we go to another city, we'll definitely let you know. Maybe we could do a little small meetup. We can meet, talk and all that good stuff, man. So stay tuned for that. Head over to gamertagradio.com. Listen to our past episode or play.it. Make sure to share it with your friends, family members, everybody. Let them know about Gamer Tag Radio, especially now that we're releasing 2 episodes every week. Do that. Subscribe our podcast on iTunes, Spotify if you have the beta, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and all the other places out there, man. So, or give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Email us, fanmail@gamertagradio.com. By the way, the next episode, which is coming out this Thursday, we are going to be having like a whole episode just strictly about fan mail. We have a lot of questions. And of course, I'm going to be reviewing for that episode Rock Band 4 for the Xbox One. So stay tuned. Coming out this Thursday. All right. So, Patrick, I believe we have the first topic of the show. I think this is like a great way to start GTR. I know somebody posted a Twitter question about this topic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it comes from James Langley hitting us up, basically saying, what do you think of the CEO of GameStop stating that there will always be physical copies of games? Essentially, protecting his business model and his company's future.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I completely understand and respect that. They're a corporation. They hire a lot of people, give them a job. And, in my experience, they're usually pretty cool places to go hang out because they typically hire pretty knowledgeable people to know about games. Now, that said, the future is going optical. I think we can all mostly agree on that. I know some people are really stuck up on the physical media aspect. I really understand that. I collected video games for 20 years almost. I think GameStop is going to be fine. Let me just go ahead and state this. Predominantly, most of their sales are of previous generations of games. I mean, I think they still have PS2 games around. They kept them for a long, long time. They sell a lot of 360 games. They sell a lot of PS3 games. They sell a lot of Wii games, sell a lot of DS games. They're going to be fine because the used game market is so gigantic at this point that there's still plenty of people that haven't played the majority of the titles that, we take for granted because, we're hardcore gamers. We played them when they came out. We moved on. Mm-hmm. A lot of people missed a lot of these things. And we should not take that away from these people that, don't treat gaming as their primary hobby. They don't want to spend hundreds of dollars every year to keep up to date with the current trends. That's just, not what they consider fun. They want to relax when they play games. Perfectly understand that. GameStop's going to be fine. There's going to be transitionary periods for sure when we get into the next generation and we start discussing, do we need optical media anymore? Do we still have to have it because of the existence of, the entertainment industry, the Blu-ray industry? Where's that going to go for optical media? Is that extinct? Mm-hmm. So many questions. It's too open-ended to even really get into that. But it is a good question, James. I appreciate it. But I think GameStop is going to be fine. And at least I'd say for another 5 to 7 years, we'll have to go revisit that after that point to see where their business model will take them there. But I mean, there's some smart people running that company. They've kept up to date with trends. But for me as a gamer, I just think I've got to the point where, my primary focus now is I want to support developers and publishers to make better, awesome, and more importantly, more unique games. I love first-person shooters, as much as anyone else in the world. They're amazing. But the more money we put into these developers, the more unique, cool experiences we're going to get. Things like Until Dawn or other, similarly different experiences of games. So used games, it's great if you still use them and love them. Awesome. You're going to have a great value for the foreseeable future. And there's a lot of things you probably haven't even played yet. Mm-hmm. Go dig deep, read reviews, read customer feedback. There's a lot of things that you're only going to hear about by word of mouth because they didn't get reviewed or they get passed over. But GameStop is still a cool place. It's entirely dependent on where you are. The employees that work there is still a perfectly fine place to go buy your games. But, for me personally, digital is the future, and the majority of my games are just going to come straight from the marketplace of the PlayStation, of the Nintendo, of the Xbox. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think the reason why the CEO said that is because the whole this is more for like the investors so it could look good.
Yeah, to make them feel safe.
Exactly.
You got to imagine a lot of people that invest in GameStop, really probably aren't hardcore gamers, and even if they do game, they don't actively follow the industry like we do. Mm-hmm. So when they hear rumors and shakeups of GameStop as a company may be going out of business because it's going digital, no, realistically they are too well established, too much name recognition, and again, a lot of people still play older games. Yeah. They shouldn't be punished because of it.
From a financial standpoint, though, I mean, they're not going to lose money. They just beat out, was it Hot Topic and to buy ThinkGeek back in a few months ago. Mm-hmm. So they're not hurting for money. I do find it odd that he makes a comment like this a month after they did the whole refusal to sell Xbox One console bundles because it had a download code for the game.
I was going to say that.
And and then forced Microsoft to make them a bundle that allowed them to sell an actual physical copy of the game. What's the difference? Because they're hoping that other than the potential to maybe get that used physical copy back as a sellable option, 6-8 months from now, maybe a year from after sale. Like I see the reason why, but I don't think they're going to. I don't think it's going to be an issue for the foreseeable future. I mean, I know we had a big discussion about this a couple of episodes back, and I think we've got some follow-up fan mail discussing this same topic. Me being in the technology industry, I see diskless being the future. I mean, it's kind of hard to not see it, just from a storage perspective, not needing. I mean, I've got 2 computers in my house, that me and my son use for gaming. There's not a CD-ROM I'm actually looking at the CD-ROM next to me because I've taken it out of both of the computers because there's no need for it these days. The only reason for them are for resellers at this point, in my opinion. I'm nobody, right? But I just think that the whole physical disc thing, the only reason it sticks around now is for the potential for a resell or a used sale down the road.
I think you hit the nail on the head when your first point, Pete. It's they wanted that physical game. So, you honestly, I think you overshot that 6 to 8 month gap. A lot of people that trade games into GameStop do it within the month that they buy it because they just play it, turn it back, and want the maximum return. GameStop, gives them their $20, $25, $30, and they turn around and sell for $55 and make their money. That's how they profited this entire time. I really think it's as simple as that. And as you said, foreseeable future, a lot of people think that is the best value for getting games. And honestly, if you only buy a couple of games a year, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, and you should pay full $60 for those games digital downloads. If you're tight on money and you have other hobbies that you spend your time and money on, there's nothing wrong with getting a used copy of a game. Like, you shouldn't feel demonized because of that. That's wrong. I don't feel demonized in that. And there's a place for it. I'm not gonna put myself on a pedestal and say that I'm better than buying a used copy. I've done it. I've been hard strapped for cash, and I've had to sell a whole stack of games. Me too. Many times.
I did that. I remember I did this. And I hate to just keep beating on this dead horse. We can move on to the next topic after this, but I remember years ago when we did a GTR meetup. I think we did like a GTR game night, and we were going to do Ghost Recon. I actually went back and I sold, I want to say like 15, 20 games just to get enough to buy a used copy of Ghost Recon. I didn't even get a case. All I got was the game and one of those paper sleeves.
What was it worth it though?
Let's say it wasn't worth. Which Ghost Recon was
one night. I played it that one night. I was like, damn it, this is horrible. No wonder we've moved on from this game. Right. And then honestly, that was the last time I sold any of my games back to a reseller or back to GameStop or Best Buy or any of that. And my wife looks at me and hates me every time I go and I open up that every time I open up that closet and she sees all those games stacked up in there. She's like,
I can't let it go. I
just can't let it go. And what's funny is I've done that with all of my audio. I mean, going back from the year 2000 on, I got rid of all of my vinyl and digitized it. So why can't I do that for video games? There's much more of a market now for vinyl than there was back then. But why can't I let go of the games? I did it with all my DVDs. I've digitized and put them in my Plex. Why can't I do that for video games?
Speaking of bundles, I know you mentioned that a couple minutes ago, Pete, about Xbox bundles and stuff. Xbox One. I know they've been announcing like a new bundle all this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to like Friday and stuff. Can you mention a couple that got your attention and some that they already been announced this week? I mean, this past week,
the one, obviously the big elephant in the room is the Elite, is the Elite bundle. It's got the SSD or the hybrid SSD 1 terabyte drive in there with the new Elite controller. I think that's really cool. There's one that's got, the Rare Replay and Ori, which still has considerable potential for
Ori, Rare Replay, and there was one more.
Yeah, I can't remember what the last one is, but I mean, just for the Ori and the Blind Forest, I mean, that has potential for me to this date of still being game of the year. So, I mean,
let me check. I'm going to check very quick.
I know there's
Gears
a
of War
FIFA
Ultimate
one, if I'm not
Edition.
mistaken. That's right, Gears of War.
That's a really good bundle. That's probably the 3 games I'd recommend to a new Xbox One owner.
And it's white.
All right, so here it is. I found it right here. So it's Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and it's with a white Xbox, 500 gigs, and that one just got announced. There's another one. This is more for like the family Lego movie bundle, 500 gigs. That one came out too. Let's see, it's another one too here. Oh, this one is the Tomb Raider. Believe is part 1 and 2 with a
That's a good deal.
terabyte Xbox One console, which is not bad at all. But let me ask you this question: like, with all these bundles, I mean, it's a lot of different choices now. Xbox do you see that as a desperate move, or you see that as a smart move? Because
it's smart. It's aggressive and smart for sure.
I've been reading on Twitter that people are calling this a desperate move. I'm like, how that is?
That's fanboyism. That's,
of course,
taking sides in an old school fanboy war. No, like Sony is leading. Everyone knows that. Props to them. They have an amazing system, and I played every night for my Destiny. It's great. Mm-hmm. But I love Xbox One too. I just need more reasons to play it more than my PlayStation, and with that new, Windows 10 update coming with Xbox, that's going to be great. And all the exclusive games, Halo 5, Forza Motorsport, which came out recently, the new Tomb Raider, I'm really excited for. I went back and playing the original Tomb Raider right now to get ready for it. It's a great time to own a console. I mean, these bundles are, it's essentially, this is a time to get one. We're punished because we're hardcore. We bought them day one. We paid $500 to $400 for a system with no games. That's because, we love gaming that much. But if you're smart and you waited because you hadn't picked a side yet, couldn't decide what was the better value, this might be the holiday season to convince you. And if this does it, and I promise you next year will, because next year is going to be flipping insane on all levels for any platform. But no, this is a good move by Microsoft. They understand American marketing. They're aggressive with it. I'm sure the TV commercials will back this up. I sure am. Every GameStop, Best Buy, Target, Walmart's going to be training their employees to push these things as much as possible. I mean, Microsoft knows how to market. They're pros at this stuff. Mm-hmm. And, second place has made them more aggressive, in my opinion, which is a great thing because it keeps it competitive and it keeps pushing them to innovate new stuff. And more importantly, get cooler new IPs on their system. Because, exclusive games, they're cool. I like them. But that should not be the reason to pick a side. It's more, what is the whole value? What am I getting out of this system? Do I use the TV parts of the Xbox? Do I prefer the traditional straight-up PlayStation gaming experience? And now they're kind of blurring the lines because they both are getting, like, PlayStation got the new 3.0 update the other day. Now you can join communities, which is a cool feature. You can set up, schedule events to play with certain people.
I love that. I love that.
It's easier to find raid partners now in Destiny on PlayStation because of this mechanic. It's a great idea. I wish Xbox would look at that and then refine and improve, because the more they go after each other's throats, it's for our benefit. We win as the gamers, and this gets me really hyped for the holiday season.
Yep. The cool part about this bundle, the one with 3 games with Ori, Rare Replay, and Gears of War Ultimate Edition, is it comes with a physical copy of Gears of War and Rare Replay and a digital copy of Ori. And this one is, I believe, $399. 1 terabyte console. I think that's a pretty good.
And you get
not
the 4
just
old
that,
school Gears games too.
Yeah,
exactly. I was just about to say
Pete,
that.
I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, that's fine. And there's the other ones. There's also the Halo 5 Guardians bundle. There's the limited edition Forza Motorsports bundle. There's the Madden NFL 16 bundle. I mean, there's the Kinect Assassin's Creed Unity, and if you want to go without the Kinect, you have that option as well. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity here for people to jump on the Xbox bandwagon. I know Paris right now is rolling around. He's got the stabbing pain in his kidney right now. But that doesn't mean, not to take any shine away from Sony, but hey, that Uncharted bundle's about to pop. And that's the one thing I'm looking most forward to picking up, because that gives me a chance to jump into Uncharted, which I've never touched or seen.
Oh my God, Pete. You know what you're missing.
Oh, it's magical. You're going to love it.
Especially part 2. Part 2 is my favorite. Woo. Part 2 is
Part
amazing.
2 is a masterpiece. Oh man.
Yeah.
Woo.
By the way, Pete,
Wish I could experience those again.
Pete, you want to read the next topic that we have here?
So the next one is the announcement of the right to 30-day refund becoming law.
That's not here in the States, though.
Oh, really?
That's in.
So why is that a big
Is
deal?
that a UK thing?
I think it's
Sounds
a
like
UK thing. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, that's big for that. That's a good move because
yeah,
a lot of people have gotten really mad at instances of that happening throughout this year.
Yeah.
We don't need things like.
All right, so the new announcement is, and this is a UK only. I don't know if this extends out to maybe Ireland or any of the other EU countries. But for the first time now, anybody who buys something bad, broken, or faulty, they will be entitled to a full refund up to 30 days after purchase. Now this is pretty huge from them, and hopefully is something that other countries will look on and kind of kickstart them into doing something similar to protect the consumer from instances like Batman.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, this is physical and digital copies.
Yeah, that's huge. Having the digital under that umbrella.
Imagine you buying a game on Xbox or a PlayStation and you can't get your money back. You're stuck with that game.
Yeah. It sucks because it's made, if anything, digital gaming has made me even more selective with trying to do all my own research in terms of, what is good. Obviously, sequels to things I've liked before, it's pretty much a given.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the new experiences I wouldn't have known about until I looked into them. I'll keep bringing up Until Dawn, but I love it to death. But that was one of those things that it was the people's reaction to it. Because eventually it came out, I was like, I don't even know what that is. Shrug. And it's like, oh, wait, this sounds exactly like what I would like. And it was. And by the way, I finally got to watch someone else play it start to finish without saying anything. Oh my God, even better the second time watching someone's reaction.
That's awesome.
That game is so fun.
Yeah, awesome, man. So, Pete, here's a good thing, and look, I know we have an older crowd too that listen to the show, but I always say this. I know a lot of people are not into this whole politics and all that stuff, but it's important to learn about the politics, what's going on within your country, and do research and try your best to get involved in your community and vote for the right person that is going to be in charge in locally, or president or senator or whatever, like that is going to affect us in the future. Like this thing that passed, I think this is a great move because now companies are not going to be taking advantage of the consumer. Now, if you buy a game and let's say Batman, like Paris, he bought it digitally, there's no way for him to get the money back now because it's already too late. It's been more than 30 days, So doing this is, to me, the right move. And I hope to see something like this here in the States in the future, man. And it all depends on us getting the right, person in charge for something like this to happen, So
yeah, I think it's important. If you want people to embrace digital, fully, they have to feel comfortable that they're not going to get screwed in situations like Pete and Paris have said, like Batman.
Yeah.
The crazy part, it also covers secondhand goods. So if you bought a used thing, like a used game through a retailer, like let's say, I think they have like Game, I think is one of the name of the companies out there that kind of functions as a GameStop.
That's like their
here in the
GameStop
States.
out there, yeah.
You buy a used game, you've got 30 days to bring it back. Now, I don't know how that's going to work with a game or something like that. Like if it's not faulty, how do you prove that a used product is faulty? But if you buy like a used, and typically they're usually good for 30 days, but I mean, this makes it illegal for somebody to not give you your money back. And then now they're saying also that it's potential to have stronger rights under this act for buying services as well. So if like you get a really bad haircut, I mean, that money's not really going to save face from, you having that horrible, haircut, but you do have a stronger battle on your side, to try to get your money back.
That's cool, man. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break. And once we come back, we have a couple extra topics here. I know people have been emailing us in the past about the Skate series. And also, I know Tony Hawk just came out recently. You'll probably talk about a little bit about that. We'll see. And I believe, Paulson, you have a review this week. I believe is Afro Samurai 2, Episode 1.
Afro Samurai 2, Volume 1.
Yep. And what about Rainbow Six, the beta? Have you guys played that?
Oh, my God.
If I can get into a game,
yes.
I'd love it.
Okay.
But we can talk more about it.
We'll talk about it for sure.
All right. So we'll be right back after this.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
This summer has been a very, very busy time for us, and that's why I love to look presentable. Like when we went to E3, I took my Harry's product, shaved over there, and I went to the events, I went to press conferences, all that. Even during podcast movement, I had a big moment with the Hall of Fame award and everything, and I had to look presentable. That's why I love Harry's. Harry's.com was started by two guys who were passionate about creating a better shaving experience. And that's what I use to look smooth. I shave a couple times a week. And let me tell you, ever since I've been using this product, I love it. My skin is very, very smooth. Quality feels legit. Say goodbye to choosing between an expensive brand and say hello to Harry's. High quality blades at a price you will love. Go to harrys.com right now and enter code GTR at checkout to get $5 off your first purchase. Get a month worth of shaving for just $10 with code GTR at checkout. That's harry.com, promo code GTR.
This is Gamer Tag Radio. Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so we're back here, Gamer Tag Radio episode 507. And head over to gamertagradio.com or play.it. Listen to our past episodes and make sure to share it with your friends. And, that will help us increase our downloads. That means more content, more goodies for you, the listeners. So support us big time. All right. Also, email us, fanmail at gamertagradio.com or give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Send us questions, feedback, whatever. We'll read it on a future episode of Gamertag Radio. So, Paz, I know you received a review copy of Tony Hawk, the Part 5, right?
Yep, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5.
How is it? You don't have to give the full review because you're still playing it.
Yeah. So let me be straight up. I think the game is fun. I try not to be influenced by other people's opinions, but the overwhelming negativity was so crushing that it was impossible to avoid. I love the original Tony Hawks all the way up until I think Project 8 and American Wasteland is where I stopped. But fun games. I really like this new one because it is a throwback to that older style. Because I'll admit I suck at Skate. It's not for me. I love the arcade stuff. And, within a second of picking up the controller, doing the tutorial real quick, I was back to doing the same cool stuff I used to do when I was a kid, a decade ago, 15 years ago. I think it's a fun game. My issue is I want to give them a chance. I can imagine right now at the studio, people, it's on fire, people running around, people screaming, it's like, oh man, what the hell happened? We need to fix this now. I hope. Because I think what I see here is a fun, well-designed game. It may be a little lacking on the content in terms of they want $60 for it. I'll have to get back to y'all next week whether or not I think that's worth it once I play a lot more of it. But right now, I think it's a fun experience. That said, the online multiplayer component, it didn't really seem like it was working when I tried it earlier. I like the idea of the free skate, you hang out in a lobby with people, you skate around and people, and then you can invite them into little events here and there. It sounds cool, but I want to let them patch this. So for me, if they can't get this working within a week after launch, then maybe I'll have to be like, okay, maybe this is all for naught. But, I was surprised how much fun I was having playing this game. But it's just straight up pure Tony Hawk with enough cool little new additions, like being able to save yourself from falling by slamming down the ground. Some of the new lip tricks you can do. There were new skateboarding tricks I haven't even heard of because I guess I've been so out of skateboarding for so long since the 90s. I like the package. The soundtrack's great from what I've heard. I don't know how many songs are on there, but I was hearing some good music I never heard before and some popular tunes as well. but the skating is solid. Graphically looks okay, nothing special.
But $60?
So far,
$60?
But $60, that's the thing. I was kind of like recall, like, whoa, maybe this, this seems like, not to, like an arcade title, if you like a download title. But just $60 for full-fledged release. I'll have to get back to you guys next week about that because I want to give them a chance to,
it's being fair.
Any of this game-breaking glitches and bugs that people are talking about, let them fix it. Let me play, their ideal of what the game should be. But so far, I'm having fun, and I'm surprised. Like I thought it was something so terrible and awful compared to what everyone was saying, but I'm having a good time. I look forward to playing more of it over the week, and I'll get back to you on next week's show. With final verdict about it.
Save it for next week. Save it for next week then. All right. But here's a good thing about competition. Like I love competition because at the end of the day, this will help us, the consumer. Look, the new Tony Hawk game came out, and what the competition, their move was EA. They have their game Skate. And now it's half off on Xbox Live out of nowhere. The same time, right after the release of Tony Hawk. So is this a sign of maybe EA is working on the new Skate game in the future? Who knows?
I would assume that has to be, in their, old folder of, projects we need to make at some point. Because if anything, the response to this is, we've been hearing the outcry about Skate 4 for years now. If they're really not even considering it, or maybe it's not, maybe it's in a pre-alpha stage that, they haven't really just gone back to and worked on because they've been too distracted by other properties. I just think it'd be dumb not to capitalize on
this.
The fact that skateboarding seems to be popular again. That the rough launch of Tony Hawk should be motivation to them to be like, hey, competition is good. Let's get back into this field because, even though they're both skateboarding games, they could not be more different from each other. And that's what I love about games is you're able to take a real life concept and expand upon it. Like what, SSX did for snowboarding, Tony Hawk did for skateboarding, and a lot of other things expanded on those ideas. I mean, I love the extreme sports genre. It's my favorite sports genre because, I'm not very good at traditional sports games, to be honest, like the 2Ks and the Maddens, but I adore the, like we've said before, like the Dave Mirra BMX kind of stuff, the skateboarding, all that crazy stuff. I would honestly probably pick up a Skate 4 at this point, even though I just said I suck at it. It's not for me. If they treated it seriously and were like, what can we do to innovate? We have new technology now. We have these next-gen systems. How can we make a better Skate 4 from the ground up? Because I remember seeing videos online of the multiplayer of that game of people who were good at it.
It was awesome.
I was like, whoa,
yeah, it was really
that's
good.
amazing.
It was a lot
to me, that's
fun.
more impressive than the Tony Hawk stuff that I can do because I'm pretty good at Tony Hawk, but I'm more impressed watching people that are good at Skate because that's the whole different ball game. So please, EA, I really hope they are making a Skate 4. If not, that would be crazy in my opinion.
Well, Pete, I know we talked about Rainbow Six beta very quick at the at the halfway of the show. What happened? What's going on with the beta? Because I haven't had a chance to play it at all. So,
all right. So I got access to the beta, actually courtesy of David Too Sly, former community manager.
Shout out to David.
Overall cool guy. He hooked it up, got me a copy of, or actually the beta key that he was supposed to get. Got it, spent half an hour, 45 minutes the first night trying to get in. Couldn't get in. Like literally got into we got into the, when you go and you load up your screen and you see the team starting to build and then everybody gets dumped. And it takes forever to load up. And I still haven't played again.
I think that's the reason why they extended the dates so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that. So what about you, Poston? Have you had a chance to play it at least or not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to gloat because I feel really bad for Pete, but yeah, I have been playing the freaking heck out of this game. And I love it. As buggy and as very beta-like as this is a beta. There are a lot of things that, I've watched enemies spawn in front of me or spawn behind me, other sorts of rage-inducing things. But the overall package is solid. I will say, Pete, were you trying the versus multiplayer or the terrorist hunt? Or were neither working?
The versus.
Okay, so the versus has had the most problems. The terrorist hunt has been working pretty smoothly since the beta got off the launch. I don't know if it's because of different infrastructure of how it works. But I played a lot of terrorist hunt because basically I think it took them pretty much like a week to get the verses anywhere sort of ready. So even though I still have a lot of difficulty finding a match, once I get into one and I'm in the cycle, then I can, keep playing with my group of people or find new people. So it's still probably like a 50% chance you're going to get a match in the verses, which just sucks because it's a really cool game. Because let me just put it this way. What I like about Rainbow so much is that how its versus and its cooperative play are two entirely different beasts. Even though they're exactly the same game with the same mechanics, the way you play them and approach them could not be more different. And that's why I like it so much. Is on one hand, you have a super cooperative, Destiny-like, terrorist hunt experience where you're working together, you're calling out, you're protecting each other, you're treating each other like you would if you were operators, because you only have one life. When you lose a friend, it's pretty traumatic. It's like, no, I could have saved him. And the terrorist, on the other hand, is you have this great mentality of trying to outthink people. It's not just out shooting, because everybody, if you're a half decent shot, you're going to kill people. It's outthinking. It's using your gadgets to your advantage, using destructible environments, shooting through. You see someone's feet underneath a wall, you can probably spray the wall and do some damage to them. You hit them in the head, that's a kill. So people have to be very aware of, how much movement they're making, where they are, verticality. You can insert from above, you can insert from below, you can go through any wall for the most part. I love the replayability of this. There's only 3 maps in the beta. There's going to be 11 total at launch. But just from those 3 maps that I played over and over again, the amount of variation and the amount of different experiences that I've had playing with different groups of people, both either, with microphones that we're communicating or without, and becomes, a hardcore mode of like, I can't talk to these people, so I have to physically be there protecting them, marking targets, using my little robot drone to go search out targets for my friends. It's a very cooperative experience, and the Versus is a very competitive experience on the other hand. So I really like this a lot. I see myself playing a lot of this game once it comes out, but I'm impressed by this beta. Obviously there's a lot of issues, a lot of technical difficulties. I'm glad they're getting this out of the way. So come December, I hope they can fix all of this. So, you press start, you press join, and you just jump right into a match. Because I think everybody needs to try this game.
Question, are you planning to get the PlayStation 4 version or Xbox One?
Okay, so I guess I'll make this announcement here. I think I'm going to get the PC version.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Ooh.
Because let me make my case here. I spent a lot of time messing with the controls for Xbox One, which I'm playing on, in terms of the sensitivity, the dead zone of the sticks. I got it after pretty much maybe like a couple of days of fooling with it. I got it somewhere close to where I'd like, but compared to Destiny on PlayStation 4, Destiny wipes the floor with Rainbow in terms of, control scheme. And I don't think that's just because it's an Xbox version. And, I think that's just how the game is set up to read motion inputs. Because, I've seen the PlayStation version exactly the same in terms of setting dead zone sensitivity, setting vertical and horizontal sensitivity. Okay. So for me, when I play this, I'm like, this is a PC game. This is me having nostalgic flashbacks to me back in the days of AOL dial-up, GameSpy Online, GameSpy Arcade, playing the original Rainbow Six and Rainbow Six Rogue Spear online with people, and having my mind blown at how incredible online gaming was back, when it was first being pioneered. Mm-hmm. This is reminding me of that, of like how good Rainbow can be with a mouse and keyboard, because your precision is just on point. You have the access to all of those macros and commands with the keyboard. But I would still see myself plugging in an Xbox One controller to try something different. So I don't know if they'll make any adjustments to how the controller handles and sensitivity for the console versions at launch. But as a beta, it kind of reinforced me like, man, I need to hurry up, get into PC gaming, because it's about to explode this year, let alone not even counting next year. So, yeah, I think I may be going PC for this one.
Pete just fainted because you said PC. He probably fainted.
I know.
Pete, you're awake, Pete? You're awake?
sorry. No, honestly, that caught me by surprise, considering the amount of people that you play online with. Considering
I may double down. Let me be honest with this.
It has the infrastructure already for multiplayer. We've already seen it function. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is a beta at the end of the day. So yes, they don't have the full infrastructure in place for the launch. I mean, it's already been pushed back from late October off to December 1st, I believe, is now the new launch date. As we all know from let's say the Black Ops beta, that initially had a bunch of issues with people getting dumped out. So it'll remain to see how successful the launch is, especially because it is a multiplayer only game.
Yeah.
There is no single player.
And I've gotten comments about that. People asking me, hey, do you think this is actually worth 60 with no single player? And in my mind, a single player would just detract from the experience, because I think it's one of those things on paper, it sounds pretty sparse. 11 maps, multiplayer only, $60. Mm-hmm. But based off those 3 maps, wow. The amount of options and variety you have to approach any situation, both in the co-op and in the attack defense versus multiplayer. And they've already confirmed that all future DLC maps will be free for the game, because as they said, they want you in for the long haul. They want to make this a competitive game. And Ubisoft does think this will be their best-selling first-person shooter ever. You know, they want to blow Far Cry 4 out of the water, essentially. And from what I've seen, if this it delivers as it promises, I think this will be huge. I think this will take a lot of people by surprise. Even people that like maybe wrote off Rainbow Six in the past is something that's just not for them. This is completely unique to any other type of first-person shooter experience out there. I'm almost glad they ditched Patriots, which seemed like it would be an amazing game, but what we ended up with Siege, I think is infinitely better, because competitive gaming is hitting its stride. It's only growing exponentially larger. Mm-hmm. And even though a lot of the focus has shifted to the MOBA games like League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Dota 2, strong first-person shooter titles like Rainbow Six Siege, I think, are going to be, and like Halo 5 probably as well, are going to carry that, you know, that MLG status that first-person shooters used to have back in the day back into the forefront. Because this really is an amazingly fun competitive game, but it's also a really fun social game to play with your friends if you want to play the terrorist hunt. I think it really is. It's like Destiny and the Crucible and the PvE. It's the best of both worlds. And these are why I like modern first-person shooters. They understand people like to play together. There is that social aspect, but you can still then have the ultra-competitive, giving call-outs type of gameplay as well. So that's why I'm very impressed by what I played, and will certainly be there day one playing it.
All right. Well, now we have... what happened, Pete? You were going to say something?
No, I'm just interesting. I'm still kind of shocked in the whole. I mean, he's gonna get it on PC. Wow.
And again, if enough people bother me, be like, "Hey, you should play it on consoles too," I may actually just go ahead and get 2 copies, because to me, how much time I'm gonna put into this game, that's I'm not thinking about the $60 at that point, because I know I'm gonna get my money's worth a dozen times over, because I played so much Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2 on 360, it was disgusting. And that is nothing compared to how much I played Rainbow Six 3 and Rainbow Six 3 Black Arrow on Xbox Live back in the original Xbox, and then Rogue Spirit and the original Rainbow on PC. Like, I have been hardcore Rainbow since day one. It's my favorite first-person shooter series. And Siege, I think, is reinforcing, like, oh, wow, Rainbow matters. You know, it's not something that can be discounted because it's, you know, going to be seen as fringe by some people. No, this is a serious competitor to the FPS market. All right. Get ready.
Your season-long fantasy football team may be going strong, but you don't have to wait until week 16 to get paid. Put your fantasy skills to the test every week this season at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. With 1 week fantasy, there are no season-long commitments. Got an injured player? No problem. It's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players. And get this, DraftKings is crowning a new millionaire every week with this season. That means you could turn your love of football into the payday of a lifetime. Just pick your players, pile up the points, pick up your cash. That's it. Believe me, you've never experienced football like this before. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Folks, we've been saying it all season. DraftKings.com is a fantastic site. You don't have to be locked into a season-long fantasy football league. Every week is a new opportunity to win cash. So hurry to DraftKings.com now. Use promo code GamerTag and play for free with your first deposit in this Sunday's $1 million fantasy football contest, where first place takes home $100,000. Enter GamerTag for free entry now only at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so we have a review this week. Possibly you want to present it before I play the audio?
Yeah, we're gonna review Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma, Volume 1. This is going to be a 3-part series. Volume 1's available now, and then Volumes 2 and 3 will come out at a later date. But I'm just reviewing Volume 1 in this iteration.
All right, so we're going to play it right now.
Hey, what's up, GTR? Patrick here, and I'm back with a review for you guys for this week. This time we're going to talk about Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma. Now, this is going to be a 3-part series. Volume 1 is available now, and Volumes 2 and 3 will be available at a later date. But let's talk right now just about Volume 1. Now, Afro Samurai. Off the bat, I gotta say, I'm a huge, huge fan. The original series, in my opinion, is one of the greatest animes ever produced. The movie Resurrection, that was a sequel to that, was also very good. And I really enjoyed the game that they made on last generation consoles that adapted the series as well. Big fan. Now, let's be honest, though. That was several years ago. What has Afro Samurai 2 brought to the table, you might ask? Well, let's talk about that. First off, the story, a little background. If you don't know anything about Afro Samurai at all, this game is a direct sequel to the original series, where at the end, there was this climactic fight between Afro and his childhood friend Gino. Afro defeats Gino. Gino falls presumably to his death. The story moves on. This game picks up right after that event and proposes that Gino, in fact, did not die from his injuries, but survived. And basically, driven by his rage and hatred of Afro for destroying everything he loved, goes on a path of vengeance once more. Now, let's talk about the story of this game. I think it was quite good. It was actually written by the original author of Afro Samurai, Takashi Okazaki, and he drew new artwork for the game as well. So the cutscenes really do a great job of implementing his new artwork, which is this great cool fusion between manga and anime, all brought to life like a crosshatch watercolor style. Very cool in motion. On top of that, some phenomenally good voice acting. All of the original voice actors from the original series returned to reprise their roles in this game. And it sounds great. It sounds like you took a break from the Afro Samurai universe and you're just stepping right back into it. On top of that, I gotta say, the music in this game is just ridiculously good. It's a original hip-hop soundtrack orchestrated by the RZA of Wu-Tang Clan, who did the music for the original series back in the day. So he was, the executive producer of the music in this game, and it's based around the idea of RZA has a lot of proteges in hip-hop right now, people that are tutoring to become the next big thing. They're using Afro Samurai actually as kind of like a launching point for some of this new talent. So all the music in this game you hear is predominantly from brand new upcoming artists under the RZA's tutelage. So every level has this really cool, unique hip-hop vibe to it, RZA production style, and some really cool lyrics from some cool up-and-coming hip-hop artists. I can't overstate it enough. The music is probably the best part of this game. If you have a subwoofer, crank it up. You'll really enjoy playing with the music on. Now, that said, we have to get to the gameplay side of this, because if this was just an animated film, an animated series, it would be really, really good. But it's a video game, and I have to review it on those merits. And I'll be frank, it's not a very good game at all. It's an okay game if you really like Afro Samurai like me, and you can just put up with some really bad gameplay design. But looking from an outside perspective, it just seems like a massive missed opportunity, especially contrasted against what I thought was a very good combat system in the original Afro Samurai. This system is based around the concept because Gino becomes Kuma, who's a robotic cybernetic warrior with a bear head on him. He has access to other people's movesets besides his own. So in this game, you have Kuma's moveset, you can learn from your Sword Master's moveset, and you can learn Afro's moveset as well. And you switch between all three of those on the fly. And on top of that, you can level them up to be more effective. That sounds cool on paper, but the reality is the gameplay is just stale. It operates with the only one attack button, which on PlayStation is square. So it's really just square, 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 square until something dies. Now, what's on top of that, you may ask? Well, one kill maneuvers, which was a cool mechanic in the original Afro Samurai because you directly placed where you wanted to swing the sword, and it was very contextual and felt cool in the moment. This game kind of takes that away from you and more just makes it feel like you're a button mashing, and every once in a while you get rewarded by doing something cool that you really honestly didn't do. You pressed a button. So the best way I can describe that is there's 2 one-hit kill mechanics in the game, one per each style. Afro doesn't have one yet. One of them essentially is you get, a combo of maybe 5 to 10 hits in a row, and then you press circle and everything around you just dies immediately. It's dismembered in like a wave of blades. And that's cool the first couple of times, but it's essentially the easiest way to get through the game. And then the other side of the hand, you have a rage mechanic where you hold down R1 again on PlayStation and press square, and you'll automatically target the nearest enemy and one kill them. And that's the game. That is literally the combat system, is mashing square, waiting until the finisher comes up, and pressing circle. So just square, 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 circle, square, 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 circle, maybe some R1s and some circle. It's just not that rewarding compared to the combat in the original game. And I just don't know honestly what they were thinking. I mean, I get the fact of having multiple styles you can switch to on the fly. Cool mechanic in principle, but in action, it doesn't really matter because they all pretty much exist just to build up your finishing move, spam finish, everything around you dies. They try to mix it up a little bit by having different enemy types that require certain, attack patterns or using certain styles, but really you're going to pick it up so quickly that you're going to almost be put to sleep by the lack of difficulty. And there isn't any difficulty settings on top of it. It's just one difficulty. The game isn't that long, to be honest. It's about 4 hours. But that is volume 1. Of course, this is going to be a 3-volume series, so you're really looking at maybe it's $14.99 for the original for just part 1, or you pay $45 for everything altogether. I think it's $35 if you buy it bundled in advance. The point is, this just seems like a massive missed opportunity. You have a really cool concept in making a sequel to Afro Samurai. Playing as Kuma is a cool experience, but it just seems like this would have worked better as a new anime project or a new animated film. I couldn't recommend this to anyone other than diehard Afro fans because you're going to be bummed by this, especially if you're new to Afro Samurai. I would warn you away from this entirely and to say go directly to the original series and watch that, and then try the game afterwards. If you like the series, you'll probably like that too, and there's a cool movie on top of that. But this just really bums me out. I was really excited for this game. I was really following the development and the release of it so thoroughly, and I just don't know what happened along the way. I guess maybe this would have worked better as a full title, not splitting it up and giving it more development time, and honestly, maybe even just reworking the whole combat system from the ground up, because I just feel like, again, sounds cool on paper. In reality, very boring, very monotonous, very repetitive. And then on top of that, you have a lot of frame rate issues when the game, when you kill a lot of people at the same time, the game will freeze for a second, so all the body parts can separate and they'll fall down. But as a game, it just falls completely flat on its face, and that's just a huge bummer for me as an Afro fan. So altogether, I unfortunately can't recommend Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of Kuma Volume 1, which is a shame because the story is great, the art style is fantastic, and the soundtrack is phenomenally good. But unfortunately, the gameplay, both in the sword combat and the platforming, is just boring and repetitive. And the frame rate is not that good either. So it culminates in a whole experience that just needed more time, obviously, maybe needed a new design direction. So right now, go ahead, save your $15. Let's wait until volumes 2 and 3 come out. I'll get back to y'all with reviews on those when they're available, and then we can reevaluate the whole project to see maybe at the end if it's worth it as a total package. But as it stands right now, go ahead and pass on volume 1. And with that, I'll send it back to the crew with any questions.
All right, so we're back here. Pawson, thanks for the review. Any
welcome.
last keep it short for the, anything you want to say about the review very quick?
I have high hopes for volume 2 just because I really hope, they're adding new gameplay elements to the game. I left this out in the review, but I'm going to add this. They had in their upgrade system, upgrade your abilities, the last tier ability, like the super special ultimate ability, the end of the talent tree for each of the 3 classes is locked. And when you try to select it, it says this will be available in the next Afro Samurai episode, which at first I was like, wow, that's really stupid. Why would they even put that in there if it's not even in the game? Mm-hmm. But now, because I did like my experience of the game because I love Afro Samurai that much and the story they're telling is fascinating, I'm excited for part 2 and part 3 to see where the story goes and hopefully give them the benefit of the doubt that there is more variation in depth to the gameplay beyond volume 1. I was just disappointed by, I went back and played Afro Samurai 1 on 360 after playing 2 again to be like, all right, was that nostalgia or was 1 really that good? No, the first one was really that good. And 2 is a step backwards so far at volume 1. We'll have to see what volume 2 and 3 look like.
Okay.
Sure.
So I did listen to it, before the show, but I can't remember if you expounded on the improvement or non-improvement of the control scheme, because I know that was one of the bigger issues on the first game.
I guess my biggest issue with the control scheme of the original for me was the camera.
The camera was always
okay. Yeah, the camera's fine in Afro Samurai 2. I mean, it's never getting called up anywhere that you don't want it to be. It's pretty good about showing all the enemies on screen. I didn't have a problem with the camera at all. So no, it was more frame rate issues and the fun factor of how much depth you can get out of this. That was disappointing for me. Because for me, I don't think you can beat the traditional light attack, heavy attack, kick mechanic that the original had, plus having, the focus blade mode spurting where you want to slice them. So So that was really cool and unique, but that was also a long time ago when action games have evolved since then. I was hoping this would follow suit. This definitely seems like almost like a PS2 iteration of that idea, a console step backwards, if you will, from what 360 game was doing. Right. So that was a bummer for me because I really like that game a lot.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up. This is episode 507. And 508 is coming out this Thursday. I can't wait. Lots of voicemails, lots of emails. And, of course, a review of Rock Band 4. That's going to be fun. I'm going to review this with my brother. So that's going to be very, very interesting. So,
wow, the return of Nano.
Yeah, we've been playing it a lot of Rock Band 4, man. So head over to gamertagradio.com or play.it. Listen to our past episodes or give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Email us fanmail at gamertagradio.com. Like I said in the beginning of the show, it all depends on you, the listener. If you like this, let us know. If you like us releasing 2 episodes per week, and give us feedback. Tell us how we're doing, and also send us a lot of content, emails, voicemails. If you have questions, send it, and we definitely will save that for a future episode. So anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
I'm still shocked. Poston's going freaking PC.
I will have more news on that soon, but yes, I am assuming my final form. I will become the master gamer that plays everything.
Okay. And that's it. We're going to wrap it up. We're out. Until next time, we are out. Peace.
You're listening to Gamer Tag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week.